So, tell me something terrible.
I was trying to come up with a witty first liner for Papa Nazi, and I couldn't come up with it quick enough.
I don't even know what the normal one-liners for paparazzi.
I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me.
Oh, God.
Papa Nazi.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to what do they call that? Think tank it?
Yep.
I always want to be part of a think tank.
You'd be good at it.
I feel like I don't know what the specifications are for it, but I feel like I'm fairly creative.
You just got to find somebody who has a wild dream that's backed by their billionaire parents and lives out in Vegas.
This isn't a fucking Marvel movie.
That's how every tech startup happens. And that's usually where that's where usually where think tanks come from.
I just feel like I miss my calling in cheesy marketing.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have really thrived in a hacky marketing scheme.
Yes.
They're like, we need puns and dad jokes in borderline like inappropriate humor.
So your sister sells MLM.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. That's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
That's like, here's your script. It's a little predatory. None of your friends and family are going to want to be friends with you in a year.
No.
Enjoy.
Well, yes. 99% of them will not. The 1% that do want to be friends with you are going to start selling it. So then you're going to lose them as a customer. And then you're going to make 1% of their 10% or anyway. I don't know how those pyramid schemes work.
Just like that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Is that okay? Hi, I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. And if you need business consulting, I'm underqualified, but I won't charge you. That seems like a good...
Yes.
You can tell I'm not a business person. I just want to be part of it.
Away.
I don't want to actually make any money. I just want to be like, I did that.
I'm really leaning into the stereotypical millennial of being like, I just need words of affirmation telling me that I'm good at my job.
Yes.
Thank you. And
Not
that's all I
job.
need. Fuck payment.
No, my job, I know I'm good at. It's outside of my job. I just need some,
A little creative endeavor.
Yeah, what do they call it? Extrinsic rewards?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm very much... I had a boss who tried to motivate me via extrinsic awards, and I explained to her that would not work.
No, you're very much food driven.
Well, that is also an extrinsic, extrinsic.
Extrinsic?
Look, I didn't have very much dinner, and this is the third. This drink is much stronger than the last two drinks you made me. It tastes stronger.
Every single one of them.
Did you forget the shugs?
No. Every single one of them, for you drinking along at home on your drive to work on a Tuesday morning, it's a shot of Lunar Gin by Hendrix. That's the shit
Which is strong as shit. That's the one that in case you cared, took the penguin graphic off the inside of one of our shot glasses.
Yeah. Follow us on TikTok. Shout out.
Hashtag shameless plugging.
100%. So it's a shot of gin, the Lunar Gin, because that's all we had in the house. A shot of Sprite Zero, because we care about calories in this house.
Yeah, we do.
Some freshly squeezed lime juice.
Because we need some vitamin C. You got to offset that.
I suppose. And
liver
then, anyway,
with some...
finishing my recipe. Half a pack of stevia, 4 ice cubes, and then a lime wedge to garnish.
Well, I have a sweet tooth, so it better be a full pack of stevia.
It's a half a pack. They all been half a pack.
I don't know why this one feels different.
That shot is essentially a hard seltzer. Just concentrated.
Yep.
To where
going down quick.
So wait, vodka's like
I'm trying my hardest not to slur things.
So that's like a 20% alcohol seltzer.
So it's a seltzer 2.5.
It's like the espresso version of a seltzer, yes.
Great.
Yeah.
This is going to go smooth. I'm so excited to lose my spot 100 times again.
Yes. Well, that's like a 3-ounce seltzer opposed to a, whatever this ounce is, like
8,
12? Yeah.
Sure. Whatever. Literally nothing matters.
No, we've rambled on about booze long enough.
Yep. And it's been a rough fucking week here in the United States.
Hence
if you're not from here.
You don't drink much during the podcast.
I don't. Not anymore. Nope. But
All
this week I feel like it was necessary. And we're going a little...
It's one of those rights you still have. So let's lean into it.
For now. It's fine.
I think you'll be able to drink most of it for the foreseeable future.
Do
we want to wander down this path?
No, I just need to get it out. When you called and I had to say out loud that I had some of my rights taken away was the minute it really hit, solidified me.
Yeah.
Because that right has saved my life twice.
Right.
And so it's really important, and it's something that we need to keep fighting for. The last time, trigger warning, this is awful. I carried a dead baby inside of me for 3 weeks, and if it wasn't for Roe v. Wade, I would have gone into septic shock and died.
Yeah.
And because I hate to break it to you, if you know anybody who's ever had a miscarriage, which is when your body doesn't recognize that it's miscarried, you have to induce it. And there are pills you take for that, and that is called a chemical abortion. And that was protected under Roe v. Wade, and now it is not.
Federally, yeah.
Yes. And there are only 12 states in the United States that have abortion rights. So it's really important, because otherwise your girl would have died. And the chances of me getting sepsis at that point was increased to 60% because I'd already had sepsis. So, it impacts a lot of people. And I don't think that people realize just how much that impacts people.
Yeah.
So that's me on my soapbox. So now let's talk about aliens.
Hard pivot.
Yep. Because I needed to have something lighthearted. So this is what we're doing.
Nice.
Okay. Ready?
Sorry, we got one new follower on TikTok as you were speaking.
Ooh, look at us go.
I got an email and I was like, one new follower? How?
Oh, and also, we have an official merch drop.
We do.
Which I'm sporting.
You are, I guess, still.
Again. Yep. I decided that this is going to be my official recording pod shirt.
Should I wear mine?
No, because I was like, pick a shirt.
You told me we were going Suns Out, Guns Out. So I was like, all right, I'm in.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Well,
it's like 87 here today. Don't judge us.
Yeah.
87 in Michigan is like 104 anywhere else. Right?
Yeah, because we have high humidity. It wouldn't be so bad.
I was going to say because I have a high fat percentage, but yes, the humidity helps too.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the humidity. And in the winter, we say it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the wind.
Yeah. Cue Todd saying the Arizona dry heat joke.
Lifelong.
Yes. Yeah.
So, if it's...
My goal is to shout out Jamie or Todd every episode.
Every episode.
Yeah. If you're a Patreon, we will shout you out.
Constantly. You got a side hustle, we're there for you.
We shamelessly plug anybody.
Yeah, we do.
That's why it's shameless.
Yeah, we do. So yeah.
You were a little too maniacal on that one, but anyway.
So
can the camera see my giant bag of jerky? I'm going to move that back a little bit.
So
it's like the creaky chair in Pitch Perfect.
I don't think it's on our website, but there's definitely a post that has a link in the comments to the Threadless app. They're like the Gildian or whatever brand. It's super soft. I really like
Stop
this shirt.
touching yourself, weirdo.
It feels so soft. And I did tweak the design a little bit so that our actual
so you can
podcast is readable. I also made 2 different designs for dark colored and light colored. You got to use
those couple semesters of art degree.
Yeah, look at me go. I went to school for something useful. Yep. And there's a few different designs. There's the if you've made it this far, congrats design, one that's primarily all oranges for dark colored shirts, one that's black and orange for light colored shirts. We have
so if you go to our Facebook or our Twitter, it's our most recent post or one or two of the most recent posts.
Yeah, and we'll try to make it. Maybe we should probably pin it to the top so it's something right there people can see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And then there's one that we did, Kaylee. Shout out Kaylee. She suggested doing a design where it's the silhouette outline of it. So I did that for one. You can get that on a mug or on t-shirts. There's also a fuck bridges in both a clean version and a dirty version.
I didn't zoom in. Is there a Yugo flying off or no?
No. Oh, that would have been clever. Just one little block.
Yeah, one little block car with the trail marks behind it.
Yep. I have a client who's from the South, and she's never been to Mackinac. She's never crossed the bridge, but she Googled that shit, and she was convinced there was.
Did you tell her when we crossed the Mississippi, it was 12 feet of nothing?
No, she's from Louisiana.
It was shorter than a highway, overpass.
It was just muddy churning water.
Yeah,
my dad was disappointed. He was like, "Well, when I crossed it,
the way back, it was we
hit a different bridge. Yeah,
we picked a girthier portion."
So yeah, there's a few designs. I think we've got another one that we mentioned. Oh, I think just a regular tell me something terrible that I haven't done yet. Anyway, I'm dicking around with it when I have free time because I had COVID and nothing better to do.
If you have suggestions, let us know.
Yeah.
Wherever.
Yep.
We're not
picky.
Big, so we respond to everything. We try to.
Yeah.
I just realized today, I checked TikTok, we had a comment from 2 weeks ago.
Oopsie poopsie.
Because I don't. Well, you have access to our pod TikTok. Anyway.
You just sign into it. It's not that hard.
Anywho.
Whatever. Does not matter. We're going to talk about aliens.
Are we?
Yep. Kind of. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of shit. This covers a lot.
Is this like 2 hours long?
No. It's 3.5 pages.
Should I have a 3/4 of a drink. Is that going to be plenty? We may take a pause later.
Yeah, we will.
You'll notice a supernatural, very well edited transition later. Mid-sentence.
So, the Battle of Point Pleasant was fought on October 10th, 1774.
Okay.
Okay.
I like when you say history and look at me like I want to be like, oh, that was the year of... I have no fucking clue.
2 years before we were a country.
Okay.
So the warriors of the Shawnee and Mingo tribes attacked Virginia militiamen.
I feel like I've heard this before. Is this a topic I'm familiar with?
Vaguely.
Awesome.
In an attempt to halt white advancement down the Ohio River.
Do you want to know how I know that I've heard of the Mingo tribe before?
How? Is it going to be racially insensitive?
No, sports related.
It's going to be racially insensitive.
No, there was a player. I think he went to Alabama. Anyway, he got drafted by the Browns, whose name was, I want to say like Marcavius, something Mingo. I think it was Barcavius Mingo. Anyway, that's how I feel like I've heard of this, because the last time I heard the story, I was like, Mingo, there was a linebacker who played for the Browns whose last name was Mingo, which is because I'm a nerd and I like have a weird eidetic memory with sports players, and that's how I relate to everything. Anyway, you go ahead.
So here's the thing. I know a lot about this because it's one of my favorite topics.
Okay.
And I did not know about this battle prior to. So I don't know what the fuck you were listening to
I don't know
that's
either.
separate than me, where they've mentioned Mingo Native. It could be a separate story. It's the Native Americans.
Yeah.
We kind of did a lot of horrible things to them.
Bear in mind, I watch a lot of Expedition Unknown.
Valid. All right.
I watch I watch TV, you listen to podcasts. It's because my work, whatever. Sorry, I'm cleaning my phone with our tablecloth. At my work, I can have an earbud in and have my phone playing TV off to the side, and it's no big deal.
Right. Yeah, and
I'm not, like,
I can't really
watching
do
it.
that. I
It's
actually have
just-
to be engaged with people when I work.
I did anyway.
And it's exhausting.
I can't listen to podcasts because they sidetrack too much, like our podcast is currently. So let's button it up a little bit, Nancy.
So, militiamen,
You've been drinking.
Virginia,
It's affecting me.
white people attacking Native Americans on the Ohio River.
Tale as old as time.
It really is.
Unfortunately.
Literally up till modern days, because fuck that pipeline. So after a long fought battle where 75 white people were killed and 400 injured, no one knows the death or injured toll for natives, because who cares, right? They did find 21 dead and then an additional 12 Native Americans after they were cleaning up the battle, but that's the only information we have regarding their death toll.
This involves aliens?
Yeah, we're going to get to it.
Okay, sorry, you're just a long way from aliens.
We're going to get there. So, the Virginians were forced to flee, but they did manage to reach a treaty of sorts with the primary chief of the Shawnee, Chief Cornstalk.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, couple good ears on that guy. Really good listener.
So, fast forward a few years.
Nothing? Okay.
No, Chief Cornstalk went to meet with the Virginians.
Wait, was that his actual name, or is that just what they called him? Because they didn't speak English.
Yes,
There's no way. They're like... Anyway.
He was like the one blonde native. They were like, that guy's going to be Cornstalk.
Oh, he had like the silk?
Yeah.
Although the silk... I guess it's kind of blondish.
Yeah.
It's an ombre.
Yep. Yeah. Someone, they put a little lemon juice on his hair and they'd be like, he's fine. So, so fast forward a few years, Chief Cornstalk went to meet the Virginians, and once he arrived, him and his sons were held hostage and murdered.
Okay.
Yep. So with his dying breath, Chief Cornstalk cursed the land for the next 200 years. This is all according to West Virginia folklore.
Okay.
Over the following 100 years, Point Pleasant, West Virginia experienced a comedy of errors, which is your favorite type of comedy, just a tragedy after tragedy.
Yep.
Costing the community thousands of dollars in deaths. On 4 separate occasions between 1914 and 1937, the town flooded.
Okay.
The first of these floods...
Point Pleasant may need to be renamed.
Point Unpleasant.
Point flood warning.
So the first of these floods is when rumors of a creature flying around the Ohio River harassing motorists was described as a large bird with a head of a man.
This is Mothman. 100% this is Mothman. That's why I've heard of Point Pleasant. Okay. Anyway.
I told you
As you were.
It's my favorite. We're finally getting to my favorite cryptid. Second favorite cryptid. Skinwalkers are my first. But that's really scary and makes me have nightmares.
I feel like we did. Oh, shit. I feel like it was a TV show that I heard the whole tribal thing. And I feel like it was like a Ghost Adventures or something. Something ghost like.
Maybe.
Anyway. Carry on.
I don't ever remember hearing about the curse.
No,
before this.
I've heard that somewhere. I don't ask me where.
Look at you go. Look, we know this is why we do this, so we can like sit down and be like, let's talk about spooky shit and together. And for some reason, even though we're releasing it into the void, there are quite a large. We're getting larger, by the way. Thank you to all of our new listeners.
Had an influx of new bingers, people catching up.
A pretty big influx, like more than normal. So we really appreciate it. So
we don't know why you're here, but we thank you anyway. Yeah, it's essentially what our Patreon says too.
Yes,
we're like, thanks for covering the cost of operating this thing.
Yep. So this is why we chat, because like I know you probably know some, but I didn't know about the Native American.
I know quite a bit about Mothman, actually.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Great.
I've listened, besides watching something on it, I've listened to at least 2 podcasts.
It's a fun story. So you know where this is headed.
You're going to ruin bridges again.
Yes, I fucking am. Right. Fuck bridges. Mm-hmm. So this, oh God, this one's, because it's not a suspension bridge. Like ours is like that weird suspension bridge and it can move and shit. This one's pretty solid. Anyway.
You're jumping ahead.
He was described as a large bird with the head of a man, sporting a wingspan of 12 feet, with dark reddish black feathers and red glowing eyes.
This was 10 out of 10, an expedition unknown, because I feel like he went looking, or an expedition X, one of the two, where they went looking for the Mothman.
Yeah, people still see it.
Yeah,
we'll get to it. So before we get into it, we're gonna have a vocab lesson real quick. So high strangeness is a term coined in the late 60s, early 70s.
Never heard of high strangeness.
So this was coined by...
When you take like 2 edibles and I'm like, I don't understand who you are right now.
That's exactly it. Yes.
Be like, I didn't know you knew Spanish, but you won't... Anyway.
It's actually Latin.
Oh, is that what that is?
It's engaging my secondary vocal cords.
Yeah. It's less creepy than when you speak in tongues, but anyway.
Yeah. So, in the late 60s, early 70s, it was coined by Dr. Alan Hennick.
Late 60s, early 70s? That's a good time for high strangeness.
Yes, it is.
Just saying.
So he was an astronomer, and it is defined as a strong quality of being peculiar, bizarre, and utterly absurd, usually surrounding UFO, alien, and otherworldly phenomenon. Mm-hmm. It's just the term when something is... It almost hits that uncanny valley where everything is so absurd that it's uncomfortable to the nth degree.
So it's paranormal outside of the realms of paranormal.
Yes.
Because I feel like paranormal kind of would encompass that in a normal sense.
Yes. Well, I mean, it hits that. But there's like, you have paranormal where you're like, oh man, I think I saw an orb, or I heard this weird noise, or a footstep that didn't make any sense. And then you have paranormal where you're like,
extraterrestrial.
Yes. High strangeness would be the episode that you did on Catalina Island. That would be high strangeness, where you're like, military jets are seeing this stuff. Veterans, science cannot explain it. It defies physics. Mm-hmm. That's high strangeness.
Were you just shamelessly plugging our Patreon?
Yeah, I was.
Bonus episode from like February of this year.
So it's a hashtag shameless plugging.
Right.
So next we're going to talk about Men in Black. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Good. You've heard of this term. Mm-hmm. So this is when...
Oh, no. They have like footage of guys going into hotels.
They're creepy. So anyway. I listened to a lot of, shout out, last podcast on the left, where they talk about Men in Black and how, again, it hits that uncanny valley where you see a person who looks like a person, but like their eyes are the wrong color, or their lips are too red, or their skin is too pale, and they're like, everything, they move wrong, they use the wrong colloquialisms, like everything is just 5% off and you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And like, that is the Men in Black.
From studying TV.
Yes. And that is the Men in Black. Mm-hmm. They show up, they're going to say, I'm part of the government. They have no good department. It's just some weird, they don't tell you. They're just like, hi, I'm here with the United States government. No department. Everything's vague. Mm-hmm. Everything hits that uncanny valley. It's uncomfortable.
How many Men in Black have seen Men in Black? Anyway.
Inception.
You're right. My whole world has been flipped upside down.
Yeah, so they always behave slightly oddly, usually speaking with off-putting accents and phrases. They're dressed in ill-fitting black suits, driving unmarked black cars. They usually show up during periods of high strangeness. Mm-hmm. And so the basic definition is that they're a government official, but some people think that they either truly do work for the government, and they're just so fucked and out of touch.
Yeah.
And they're here.
They're just in lead bunkers all day, every day.
Yes. Or because of their off-putting demeanor, the ufology community insists on them being aliens.
Yeah.
Like you said, they've only learned human behavior from movies.
Human tryhards.
That's a good way to put it. So, fast forward to November 15th, 1966. Mm-hmm. A young pair of couples, the Scarberrys and the Marlettes, were joyriding late one night around what is known as the TNT area, which is a section of what used to be a munition productions and power plant used by the National Guard that spanned an 800-acre area that turned into the McClintock Nature Reserve.
Think Stranger Things.
Yes, that's exactly fucking it. It's not roped off, though. You could go into the building if you wanted to.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
We'll get to it. So, they were headed down this road, these teenagers. It was called Route 62, that takes them into the reserve near the abandoned power plant. As they approached the building, they saw what appeared to be a man standing in the road. And as they approached this figure in their car, it unfurled its wings and awkwardly ran toward the power plant and then inside.
Yep.
So they decided to leave, debating whether or not to go to the police and report something strange at the reserve. So once they got to the main highway that takes them out of the reserve, though, they realized that the creature was following them. The couples saw it by the billboard just onto the road at first, where it shot straight up in the air, quote, like a helicopter.
Okay.
And as they headed back toward Point Pleasant, the creature started giving chase, flying over the top of the car, avoiding the headlights. Mm-hmm. And it would disappear for a minute and then come back, swooping at the car. Eventually, the teens made it to the straight stretch of highway where they pushed their shitty little 1960s car to 100 miles an hour. But the dark 7-foot-tall gray figure with a 10-foot wingspan kept pace, chasing them to the city limits. So the Scarberrys and the Marlettes decided to go to the police to report the incident after all. And Roger Scarberry told the police, quote, that he's a hard guy to scare, but last night I was getting out of there.
Yeah.
He wasn't fucking around. Mm-hmm. So, of course, this incident made the newspaper the next day with the headline, quote, couples see man-sized bird, ... creature, ... something. Like, they literally use the dots in the headlines.
So how, what do you call that? Like, salacious?
Yeah. ... something, ... on the wing. That's a Shatner thing, right? No? Yes?
Don't
the
ask
airplane.
me.
Okay. So, and this is where the sightings start to ramp up. Several people came forward with their stories.
Because one person sees it and then everybody else like, that's what I saw.
Yeah. So there were several people that came forward with their stories, and over the course of the next 13 months, local journalists 13.
Lucky number.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Sorry. I was having an existential crisis over here.
Epiphany.
So local journalists, her name was Mary Heyer. She collected the sightings of what will be known as the Mothman.
Higher strangeness.
High strangeness.
Just saying.
So she published them in a column called Where the Waters Mingle that eventually catches the attention of ufologist John Keel, who she eventually partners with to collect stories and data.
Okay, that's just a UFO
scientist.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That wasn't part of
ufologist.
your...
My terminology?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to go back and we can vocab that
Postscript,
too?
yes.
Yeah. Ufologists are people that study phenomenon. Just like cryptozoologists. Not ziptocruologists. Like we slaughtered.
There's all these real people that go to school, right? And they're in all these degrees.
Uh-huh.
And there's all these other internet sleuths that just give themselves fake-ass titles and then just wear them like a badge of honor.
Some of these people get degrees still.
You don't get a degree in ufology.
No, but you get it in all of these other sciences. And then you go, this one thing doesn't fit into any of the science that I learned, so something fucked up's happening here. It's like what Einstein said, God doesn't leave the universe up to chance.
I'm going to come up with some crazy side shoot off of my degree and just run with it.
Please.
That'll be my next think tank thing that I'm going to be excited about.
I'll talk about it
Yeah.
after this. Take a couple more shots and just think tank this,
Doubtful.
you and me.
The video game buddies are hitting me up pretty hard already.
So after the initial article was published, other locals came forward with encounters of their own prior to the night with the Scarberries and
The Camulets.
Marlets. Yeah, Camulets. So November 1st.
Every time you said their name, that's all I could think of.
So November 1st, a National Guardsman claimed to have spotted a half-man, half-bird figure in a tree.
He was on patrol.
He's on patrol. Yep. So 4 guardsmen. Jesus Christ.
Guards people?
Nope. Gravediggers.
What? Okay.
We're watching out for those vampires.
Okay. Grave
Those
diggers.
bells.
Yeah.
So 4 diggers,
Not the monster truck.
not the monster truck, claimed to have...
Shout out Monster Truck Rally, an underrated computer video game. One of my favorites ever.
Really?
I loved Monster Truck Rally.
Did you ever go to the Silver Dome?
I did.
I loved the Silver Dome.
Yeah, I went there for a Monster Truck Dirt Bike Rally.
Me too.
I had,
when?
I don't fucking know.
I was probably like a freshman, so that would have made you still in high school.
I was younger than that. But I
Okay.
got signatures on posters,
Wow.
and I don't think those posters exist anymore.
Probably not.
One was by a guy who's fairly famous.
Really? Can
Yeah.
you remember his name?
It was Chad L. something.
Was it the Chad?
It was the Tom Green, anyone?
Oh, God. Classic. So,
Classic? That is a pretty obscure reference.
no, it's not. It's in Charlie's Angels. It's not that
but
obscure.
it's a weird part of Charlie's Angels. Just because you and I say it on a weekly basis, that does not mean anybody who saw.
Was it the Chad as he's lowering himself into like a shaft from a steamboat?
I'm just saying. Yeah, it's from a movie from 20 years ago.
Yes.
That not a lot of people saw.
The weird one-liners that we like cling on to is just
I
ridiculous.
quote a KFC commercial from 15 years ago. Game Day Bucket Go Boom is the dumbest reference I have. And I say it almost every day, either out loud or in my own head.
The worst part is I'm just now finding out that it's a KFC.
It's a KFC commercial from the early 2000s. Game Day Bucket Go Boom. It's like, it has stuck with me forever. Anyway.
No, you really do say that almost
I
every
do.
fucking day.
I love it. And it's so dumb.
You say it more than sup.
My name's Sebastian. Anyway,
Why are we so stupid?
this is why you don't drink during the podcast. Look how off the rails this has gone.
Oh, God. So, oh no, I just put a random word in all the way at the beginning. Oh, shit.
You can skip it.
I didn't make it that far.
Okay.
Okay.
You collected
Initial.
your thoughts.
All right, we found it. The 4 Gravediggers.
Yes. Monster
Not
Truck Rally.
Guardsmen.
Hold on. You distracted me. Monster Truck Rally. Great video game. That's all I needed to say about it. You could race monster trucks. It was great.
So, 90 miles from Point Pleasant on the night of November 14th, which is the day before,
Correct.
a farmer/contractor named Newell Partridge and his wife were watching television.
Is he Amish?
No.
He's a farmer
He's watching
slash
TV.
contractor. Okay, you're right. Mennonite. His name's Noah. And he's a
Mennonites
farmer.
are only... No, Noel.
Oh,
Noel.
Okay.
Noel.
He's a farmer slash contractor.
His name
which
is
told me
Noel Partridge.
We're in the back hills of Virginia. I'm just saying.
He's a moonshiner, not...
Is he?
Yeah. Look, I'm just making up.
He's wearing overalls. Let's proceed.
We're going with his backstory. He's not, we're in West Virginia, not
you told
Pennsylvania.
Me his name was Noah Partridge.
Noel.
I know now. Anyway, proceed.
Anyway, he's a farmer. He's
Slash
got a pump
contractor.
house and everything. He's got power and electricity. He's
Okay.
watching television. So his TV starts fucking up. It starts getting. He described it as like a high pitched, like.
First thing he does is bitch to his wife. Fix the TV. Or
No.
the TV's broke.
Yep, that's literally it. It started buzzing and whining at the same time that his German Shepherd started barking and growling on the porch.
Okay.
So he opened the door. The dog took off to the pump house in the field, which was surrounded by red lights when he shined his flashlight. His dog never came back.
Surrounded by red lights.
Mm-hmm. That
Not-
shone red when he had his flashlight.
Okay.
Yep.
Bioluminescence.
Red.
Yeah, he's got the red tide in a pond
In West Virginia.
Yeah, clearly.
A pump house. It's not even a pond. It's just in the middle of a field.
Isn't a pump anyway?
No, pump houses are what That's like straight down, like a regular well.
Okay. If you
There's
say
no
so.
ponds and pump houses.
The pump house that I know is on a golf course by a pond.
Yeah, because there's an easy... It's because we live in Michigan and there's
just
water
go on with
everywhere.
your story.
Anyway, his dog never came back.
Okay.
He reported this to the police and the media. And it just keeps getting weirder. Mm-hmm. The high strangeness.
Okay.
So the Mothman's spottings increased with over 100 reported sightings alongside other high strangeness. Locals in both Ohio and West Virginia claimed to see the Mothman in their yards, peering into their windows, down the road at neighbors' houses, flying down Route 62. 2 firefighters claimed to see a large bird and giant shadows flying overhead. And
What
then
time of year is this? This is all in...
the winter. So November,
Okay.
December.
So it's not migrating birds at that point.
We're going to get to it.
Could be migrating birds.
They say it's probably migrating birds.
Okay. That's my assumption at that point, but I'm just saying.
We're going to get to it
Okay.
at the end. So, yes. They also saw like this giant bird thing with a human head flying over the Ohio River. One person claimed that it was by his bed, radiating an evil feeling. He was a teacher.
Okay.
He started invoking the name of Jesus, and then it slowly faded and went away.
Okay. Goatman's different. Is it Goatman?
Yeah, Goatman's Satan.
Okay. Different than Mothman.
Yes. So, look,
What?
I just can't get into it. I can't.
Go with this story.
Nope. So one person claimed that it was, look, we've already gone off the rails. I can't keep going off the rails. So one person claimed, we already did the bed thing. So others claimed that the creature looked sad. Some people claim that they feel like it was trying to communicate, but didn't have the means to do so. Tons of people flocked to the TNT area to catch a glimpse of the Mothman or a chance to hunt it.
As you do.
You know, America. Yes.
Never mind.
That was really dramatic.
I will save it. I just came up with my topic for the bonus episode. You go ahead.
Okay. So another group of locals headed up to the TNT area in an attempt to get a glimpse of the Mothman. A woman named Faye and her siblings.
What a lovely name.
Yep. So her brother was driving along Route 62, and he kept glancing at Faye in the passenger seat. Eventually, fed up with her brother, she asked him why he kept giving her odd looks. You don't know what that's like as a younger brother.
Nope. Can't relate.
Or married to me, who is an older sister. Not his older sister. Just an
No
older
shit.
sister.
I think people figured that out by now.
Have they, though? I
Our
told
kid
my
only
story
has
about
2
that one
arms.
guy. So he told her, don't look, but it's right outside your window, keeping pace with their car. And as every sister is wont to do, she started thumping her on her brother, pleading that he drive faster. And the Mothman still kept pace. So her brother decided to attempt to lose the creature by making a sharp turn onto the nearest drive, the drive that headed to the abandoned power plant.
Ooh, just out of a horror movie.
Yes. And then the Mothman followed. When they came to a stop, it jumped on the roof of the car, staring between Faye and her brother, and then it sprinted off toward the power plant, where it leapt up multiple stories and just stood in the shadows on the roof watching the group. Instead of leaving, the brother starts antagonizing it, throwing rocks and hunks of coal at it until the Mothman had enough of their shenanigans.
Do we know Faye's brother's name?
No, she never mentioned it.
Let's call him Dick.
think
Seems appropriate.
It does. So he was hucking shit at the
He was what?
Mothman. Hawking shit at the
No,
Mothman?
you said hucking.
Hucking?
Yeah.
Look, English is hard. Fuck reading.
All right, so hucking Dick over
So
here.
he's hucking dick at the
No,
at the
Dick is
Mothman. Dick is hucking shit at the Mothman.
Yep,
Finally
antagonizing.
gets sick of its shenanigans, and he stood up, unfurled its wings, and leapt, swooping down toward them and off into the night sky.
Okay.
And so the woman, and then later a woman named Connie swore she saw it mid-morning. So a lot of these sightings happened at night. Connie swore that she saw it mid-morning, standing by a golf course, and she approached it in her car, and it looked straight in her eyes before unfurling its wing and flying straight upward, like a helicopter.
So in circles?
No, just like straight. Like birds don't go
Don't just
perpendicular
shoot
to
up.
the
Yeah.
earth. They swoop. Where helicopters can just be sitting
Levitate,
and then go
essentially.
straight up. Yeah. And so that's how a lot of people over and over again explained it. It moved straight up like a helicopter.
And when it lands, it does a Superman landing with the one knee down.
Yes.
He's gonna do
Head
this.
down.
He's going to do the Superman land, the
Yep.
superhero
Fist down.
Yeah.
Yep. So
He's got a big M on his chest.
for Mothman.
Yeah.
In red. So
Sorry. If there's a light, he just is drawn towards it, though. It's really inconvenient. That's why he's chasing all these goddamn cars.
yeah.
It all
He
makes
just-
sense now.
yeah,
And
the
then
headlights.
When they park, turn their car off, he's like, whatever. And he
Yeah,
just
I don't
goes
need the
up.
light anymore.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sorry.
No, that explains a lot.
Does it? I don't know if it does.
It does. So later, after having her stare down with the
Imagine him
Mothman,
during bonfire season. He's a mess.
just confused, just
Moth to
house
flames,
house.
just
Ugh.
over. Anyway.
That's how you get him, actually. See, that's
Yeah.
that's why he chums around in like November. He knows that bonfire season's over.
Right? In West Virginia? No, that's like peak West. I mean,
Yeah, it's still really warm, I'm sure, in West Virginia.
No.
November here, it's like snowing.
you can still. Anyway, go ahead.
Literally doesn't matter. Later, Connie suffered from a rare eye infection called celiac conjunctivitis, causing severe redness and itching. So by December rolls around, there's a marked increase of Mothman sightings. Pilots claim to have seen it at the airport, swooping above like landed planes. And that's when people started seeing strange lights in the sky.
Okay.
And then the Men in Black sightings started. Mm-hmm. So grocery store clerks
You meant to
saw
say, here come the Men in Black.
the Men in Black. Will Smith?
I'm going to try to get you to sing multiple times on this.
Absolutely not. Just once. That's all you get. And it's been a while, so appreciate it. And I'm drunk, so it's probably tone deaf. I apologize.
Here comes the Men. I was trying to make that intentionally pitchy for
I
you.
hate you so much. So the Men in Black sighting started. A grocery store clerk saw, while headed home for the night, strange tracks and lights in the sky. The next day, a note showed up under his door informing him that they knew what he saw and that they knew that he was talking about it and that he better keep his mouth shut.
Okay.
So this is when locals started getting visited by the Men in Black, showing up in residences, in businesses, asking about the sightings and why locals insist on reporting and talking about it. Mm-hmm. The MIB have fully infiltrated the area. They are spotted roaming around the reserve, roaming around the town. One woman insists that the Men in Black tried to pull her into their car while she was checking her mail. And eventually the MIB showed up at Mary Hyer's office
Okay.
in January
Yes.
of 1967.
Okay.
So we're into a new year. By March of 1967, people were headed up to the TNT area just to get a glimpse of the regular occurrence of strange lights in the sky. By March 5th, a UFO was spotted by a local while driving. There was an additional sighting of the same craft reported to Mary the next day. On March 20th, the craft was spotted above the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant.
Fuck bridges.
Yes. So this is described as the size of a Volkswagen.
Okay.
As the UFO sightings
That's how I describe our furnace.
or
Our
rhubarb.
Yeah. I don't know why that is such a prominent like spatial
Reference,
term for
yeah.
me, yes.
In society, well, it seems to be a societal thing.
Right.
You're like the size of a Volkswagen. You know, well, also like a Volkswagen's like an Aveo, right? Like they're about the same like size,
take, yeah.
but no one gives a shit about Aveos.
Yeah, one's like iconic and kind of adorable, and the other one's ugly and looks like a shoe. So yeah, just had to shit on your Veo for a minute.
Look, she might have been little, but she had a 5-star crash rating. It might take the jaws of life to get you out of that car if you got into an accident,
Right.
but you'd live through it.
Yeah, you got 4 tires, 14 airbags, and a bunch of plastic.
Yeah, you do. Look, she got us our big road trip,
That's true.
and then a head gasket blew. It's fine.
No big deal.
The UFO sightings climbed into the hundreds, and the Mothman sightings seemed to drop off until November 2nd of 1967. A woman reports to Mary that she saw she saw 2 red glowing eyes behind her home that butts up to the McClintock Reserve. So 2 hunters also spotted it walking around the TNT area that night. So the sightings of Mothman started to increase again, mostly seemed to be like buzzing cars around Route 62. So the sightings kept escalating until December 15th, 1967.
So this is what I think happens.
Okay.
You ready for a crazy conspiracy?
Hit me.
I think the Mothman...
Don't literally hit me.
Right?
Tell me.
Yeah, no, little DV to go with your day. So I think the Mothman lives in bumfuck Canada, right? He lives there all summer. He's just chilling, like literally, just loving life, isolated, right? Winter's too cold there. He's a moth.
There's a lot of Canada,
He's
too.
a moth. He's not a squatch. So November through
There's no fur.
November through like February, when all these sightings happen, he has to travel south. So this is the place where he like temperately knows is like the sweet spot for him to spend his winters, and he has that abandoned building that he calls like that's his Florida for all the birds that travel between like Michigan and Florida.
Sure.
So I think he lives in Canada. Him and the Squatch are hanging out. They're like
Yeah, they
playing
are.
ping pong. Whatever.
It's actually the Squatch's pet. You know how like we have a parrot?
Yeah.
You know, she's exotic. You're like, ooh, look at this thing that's really fun and
Yeah.
cool. And the Mothman is actually the Sasquatch's version of an umbrella cockatoo.
Yeah, something like that. It's just familiar.
Yes.
Anyway, about your business. That's what I just feel like all these happen in the winter, November to February times a year.
Right. Yeah. Going to some place where there's a mild climate to get away from
And there's longer nights because it's winter and he like wants to be out. Anyway.
No, I think you're.
Okay,
I think you're spot on.
Let's continue to troubleshoot my hypothesis as you go.
So, rush hour traffic on December 15th,
Yep.
1967,
On a bridge.
on a bridge.
Isn't there a sporting event or something?
No, just bridge.
I mean, for the rush hour traffic.
December 15th
Okay.
on a Friday.
Okay.
What do you think's happening?
People are getting ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So rush hour.
I knew there was something.
Yeah.
That was
Rush hour traffic
increased traffic.
was at a standstill at 5 p.m. on Friday afternoon, 10 days before Christmas. The light monitoring the traffic flow on the bridge had gone out.
Oh, God. It's like a train accident all over again.
Mm-hmm. So a cable on the north side of the bridge snapped, dumping half the bridge in the water.
Mm-hmm.
The cable swung back in the opposite direction and dumped the other half of the bridge into the water.
Mm-hmm.
There were cars, people, and Christmas presents floating in the freezing river.
Yep.
Hypothermia set in nearly immediately. People on the West Virginia side were in shock, wandering about the shores looking for loved ones. Tugboats were brought in to help pull cars and pieces of the bridge out of the water. Search and rescue boats dragged the river every day for like a week afterwards looking for bodies.
Mm-hmm.
31 vehicles went into the water, 9 people were injured, and 46 people died in the collapse.
Holy cow.
There were 2 people unaccounted for, one of which was a 3rd grade little girl.
Okay, I didn't know that part.
Our child's going into 3rd grade next year.
She is. How bad did you like...
Oh, I broke down because in the interviews on this documentary that I was watching, the man was in school with this girl.
Oh.
Yeah, one of the men that they interviewed.
Oh, like after the fact?
Yeah, after the fact. Yeah, he was being interviewed, and they were like, he was like, "There's a 3rd grader." Like
Yeah.
he's like, I was in 3rd grade at the time. There was a girl in my class
Yeah.
who they never found.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once the pieces of the bridge were examined, it was determined that there was a crack only 0.1 inches long in a link that what's called the subsidiary chain used for like I don't know what it was used for. I don't care. I didn't look that much into it. They don't use these kind of
You're
bridges
not a
anymore.
civil engineer?
No. They also don't use these kind of bridges anymore. There was this and one other bridge in the United States that was like that, and then one other bridge in Brazil. They tore the bridge that was in the United States down in the 70s, and they tore the bridge down in Brazil in like the 90s. They were like, this is a fuck design.
Stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, because they actually inspected it, and they were like, there's no fucking way anybody would have seen that. It was an internal crack inside of a link that was caused by
The
like
fact that
corrosion.
if one thing has that small of a crack can be that detrimental seems like poor design anyway.
Look, I went down a rabbit hole afterwards looking at the state of the infrastructure of the United States.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Look, I was going to include it, but I was like, we're already 3.5 pages in, and it's miserable and disgusting. And Michigan has like a D- on the grading scale.
Shocking.
Yeah, there's like 250,000 bridges or something. I don't know. That's an exaggeration. I don't think it's an exaggeration. There are hundreds of thousands of bridges that need to be replaced because they're all failing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's fine.
You drive down any fucking highway in the United States, like especially in Michigan where all the weather's horrible and we've got all that water, you can just fucking see through the fucking bridges. Like, I remember seeing this report, like, before and being like, I'm going to start paying attention. And, like, driving down the highway and being like, oh, look, I could stick my whole hand through that hole.
I thought we were talking about aliens.
Yeah, we are.
Are we?
We are. The Men in Black are aliens.
We're talking about bridges.
No, and there's UFOs and stuff.
Keep your story, lady.
Anyway, so there's a crack in a link in the subsidiary chain that was caused from internal erosion.
Yeah.
And once that link...
And it looks like when the Dementors go around the bridge in Harry Potter.
Yeah, and just twist it apart. So once that link broke, it put pressure on the surrounding links, which caused them...
are the weakest link.
Yes.
Goodbye.
So yes, and then it just took out all the other links, which weakened the chain, which caused the cable to snap. And once the weight distribution, because bridges are balanced, became unbalanced, the other half of the bridge snapped.
Yeah, it'd be like you if you got up to get a fourth drink right now. You'd be all sorts of unbalanced.
100%.
Yeah.
Just break at the knees.
Fifth drink? I don't know how many you had.
4.
Okay. We've settled.
So the weight from the overloaded bridge was too much for it to bear. And when the Silver Bridge was first constructed, cars weighed an average of 1,500 pounds, and the max truck weight permitted on the bridge was 20,000 pounds. At the time of the collapse, the average car weighed 4,000 pounds, and the average weight of semis crossing the bridge was 60,000 pounds or more.
That seems about right. That math works out. No big deal.
So the bridge regularly saw bumper-to-bumper traffic, so it was just a matter of time before this happened. Some locals swore they saw the Mothman near the bridge the day it collapsed.
Sorry, hold on. That crinkling you hear is my tinfoil hat going on.
And so there was another cryptid that was labeled as a harbinger of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
And of course, there are the pro-Mothman sect of this entire thing, just like the Nain Rouge, where they're like, no, bro, they're trying to warn us of the bridge breaking.
Yeah.
So after December 15th, sightings of the Mothman ceased. Although there were sightings of the strange lights in the sky that followed a few nights, like for the following few nights. There are the occasional modern day sightings of the Mothman. In 1999, the Mothman was reportedly seen in Russia.
Oh.
Yep. Before a huge apartment fire. And then one man managed to photograph the Mothman in 2016, although a science writer said that this photo could be explained as a bird carrying a snake, as most of the sightings were explained by various biologists brought in to the McClintock Reserve.
A bird carrying a snake? Okay.
Look.
I'm just saying I don't know how that would look to make you think it's a Mothman.
No.
Okay.
So biologists that were brought into the reserve, some suggested it was an owl, and others suggested that it was a sandhill crane that got lost while migrating.
Okay.
Yep. Full circle.
Yep.
And this...
Well, that's what he was doing.
Yes.
He's supposed to be heading south. He's doing full circles.
Yes. There's actually a sighting where someone said that it was like circling above, like, and then it would dive down and then circle back up.
He had one bad wing.
He just kept doing left circles.
Yeah, he couldn't help it.
Oh, poor buddy. He just needed a little help. And he's trying to get all these locals' attentions, and then they just ran away screaming.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, I just have a bum wing. So, with the sandhill crane, biologists would explain this is why you would see red eyes, because they have red markings around their eyes. Even though it was red, like glowing red eyes.
And not like mascara.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to see that there's red eyes on something, like in the pitch darkness in a flashlight. That's not a thing. No. Whatever. I still think it's real.
Okay.
I want to believe. So after the Mothman Prophecies was released in 2002, Point Pleasant really leaned into the Mothman and the dark tourism sector.
Festivals and
they
everything.
do. So they opened a museum, commissioned a metal statue with red glowing eyes that clicks on at night, like the red eyes. Yes, it's so amazing. There's a little plaque and everything explaining the history.
Yeah.
And there's a yearly festival.
Let's use that term history loosely.
It's history.
Okay, good. Okay. I liked high strangeness. It seemed more apropos.
You know, tomato, history, high strangeness. Like, you can see why you get them confused. Yeah. So this festival draws crowds of 10 to 15,000 people that visit the little town with a population of 5,000.
Thanks.
So we need to add that to our TMST Pod Bless America tour.
God bless America.
Yep.
What time of year is it at? November, perhaps?
September. It's right around my sister's birthday because I texted her when I saw the date and I was like, oh my God, we have to go for your 30th. And she's like, isn't that in West Virginia? I was like, yeah, it is. So we're going to Put in Bay instead.
Okay, good. Just tell everyone our plans.
Sorry.
All of our stalker fans are going to come find us, even though they can all figure out where we live. But
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
No.
We're a very unique house in a very small town in the Midwest.
well, you run your business out of here, so there's that.
Also, yeah, that's true. But they don't know. Oh, I was going to say they don't know my business name, but you just have to Google me. It's pretty easy to find.
Anyway, let's not make it
We have
super-
security cameras.
Yeah, and a parrot and a guard dog that's 12 pounds.
She'll fuck you up. She was determined she was going to get that airplane today.
Yeah. Well, she's stupid.
She is stupid. So that's like the surface of the Mothman project.
Yes.
The Mothman prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of John Keel?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's the man who wrote the book on it, and he was like a pretty, prevalent ufologist.
I'm going to figure out which Expedition Unknown was about the Mothman, and I'll let you watch that while I play video games after this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose I could just watch the movie with Richard Gere in it.
Richard Gere?
Yeah. Did you ever watch it?
No.
Of course not.
Did you?
Yeah. Of course I did.
When?
I watched it when it came out. When I was in middle school. Nope. Yep, middle school.
Okay. Yeah, no, I never have.
No, that's a shame.
I'm not a big Richard Gere fan.
It's fine.
That's what I... Well, yeah.
It's all right.
You want me to watch a movie that's fine?
Yeah. I would rather watch documentaries about it.
Exactly. Okay. Do you have sources for this?
Yes.
Okay.
So, mothmanmuseum.com. Wikipedia, of course. Mothman entry and the Silver Bridge entry. westva.net article, which is actually the original article in the Point Pleasant Register. The couples see man-sized bird, ... creature, ... something. And a documentary available on YouTube called The Mothman of Point Pleasant by Small Town Monsters, which I totally suggest because it was very well done.
The Expedition... It's not Expedition Unknown. It's Expedition X.
Okay.
It's Season 1, Episode 1 is Mothman.
A fucking course. They were like, we're going to start with the cultural milieu. Like,
swing for the fences
yes.
right off the bat.
Now we did the same thing though. Where it's like, what's a good thing? Let's go with like local Michigan jokes that we hear from our parents constantly about
Also,
that stupid snowstorm.
Dano thinks Michigan's fucked up because most of our stuff's from Michigan. So he hears all our podcasts and he's like, I'm never coming to Michigan. You guys are full of fucking murderers and crazy people and storms. I'm like, it's because our podcast is like 40% local. So it sounds way worse here than it is.
The Pacific Northwest is way worse than us.
Okay. He's from Florida.
Oh, and he's judging Michigan?
Exactly.
Sir.
I say that, but I'm like 80% sure he lives in Florida. Yeah, I'll stick to that. He lives in Florida.
All right. Well, we've got at least somebody screaming at us.
I hope anyway, that's a whole separate topic, but I hope all these people that I know through like Jamie and his streaming, like Big J1066, Twitch, all that.
I hope shout everybody out.
I hope
every
I
time.
meet them all at his wedding, and it's just going to be this weird quasi, like, I know you, but I don't actually know you thing. It's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be painfully awkward, yet almost homey feeling.
Yeah. I keep seeing lightning bugs outside our window over there too, and I feel like we have UFOs flying around. So
it's the Mothman.
It is.
We've invoked it. It's like a Bloody Mary when you say your name 3 times in a mirror.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice. Yeah, you say that 3 times too. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
If you made it this far,
congrats. We've rambled on enough.
Oh God, we have rambled. I might actually have to edit this podcast. It has been a
Jesus fucking Christ! It's almost an hour.
I know.
All right.
Anyway,
my arm hurts. It's time to go.
What have you done to your arm?
Nothing. It was a call back to the last episode.
From holding your phone?
Yes, my elbow.
Or from aggressively pointing at me, that's the only reason I set this camera up. It's not
the MIB in the uncanny valley and high strangeness, and you guys, it's the Mothman. It's aliens. All right, bye.
Are you?
I'm gonna go drink. I'm gonna go have another shot and pretend like the world's not on fire.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Oof, that was terrible. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.